Namaste, it's Ewelina here. I'm very excited to introduce you to a phenomenal Ashtanga Vinyasa yoga teacher who comes from Mysore. Mysore, which is a very heart of Ashtanga Vinyasa yoga practice. He's been practicing yoga since childhood and teaching since many years, having practitioners, students, teachers of Ashtanga yoga coming to him to learn from all around the world. This man has so much wisdom, knowledge, experience, as well as humbleness, kindness, and peace, which we all can feel by just being in his presence. Let me introduce you to Guruji Vijay Kumar.
Namaste.
So, first question
Yes.
is, how did you begin your yoga journey? How did you start? When was it?
All right. So, regarding my personal practice to begin with, when it comes to as a yoga practice as a whole, I did not even have to begin because I was in a stream where everybody was in yoga, bhakti yoga. But if you ask about asanas, again the same way, I just happened to be with the river. It just got me flowing. My mother was practicing, my brother was practicing. So things and people around me were just conducive for me to begin. And just the heart flew with it and I happened to practice. And I did at home.
Okay, wow. So I guess you were a little boy when you began to practice asanas.
Yeah, we can say.
Okay. How old were you?
Around 11.
Wow. So you are from really yogi family. So that was from the beginning of your life.
Yes.
The way of
Yes, we can say that. And it should be due to the past life activities.
And your parents? Do they still?
My mother practices. Yeah.
Is she here in Mysore?
Yes, with me. Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
that's really great.
Yes. Yeah. It doesn't take a big deal of amount of time because it's not something new that we have to practice anymore. It's a part of the life. So it's in the flow and we are with that flow and it just keeps on going. So we don't need to try and practice something or anything. It just happens as a routine in the life. The fruit of practice. When we say practice, it's a friction. It's a friction. Many times we have to pull our mind and body to do something. Practice itself is a friction. But the end result of practice is when we don't expect anything in return from the practice, it should have become a part of life, a routine. Where there is no friction, it just flows seamlessly, limitlessly, and makes us just be present.
Wow, that's really beautiful. I feel like for me and for a lot of people I'm watching, I'm seeing practitioners, we always expect something of the practice.
Yeah.
We expect maybe to become stronger, more flexible, maybe to just find peace.
Yes.
We expect even this peace. We
Yes.
expect the stillness. So this is beautifully said how you just explained that.
Yeah.
You have to get off of this
Yes.
expectation, just be.
It always begins that way. And if we are perseverant enough, if we are sincere enough, I say sincere, not serious, because although we have this expectation, it must start to decrease towards a way of simplicity, simpleness. There is a difference between serious and sincere. In both, we apply to the best of our abilities in whatever stream we are doing, any practice, cooking, practicing asanas, painting, education, for exam, whatever. But when we are serious, we expect something to come back in a specific way. In serious, on the contrary, we let things manifest. We don't really expect, but we are still applying the sincere of our abilities. So that is very important. to make our expectations diminish in a gradual way. We cannot immediately erase our expectations from whatever efforts we are applying, but it's a process, the fruit of a practice.
Feel like it's just seeing more, understanding more, and then dropping it.
Yes.
But we have to notice.
Yes.
We have to
Yes.
just notice the
Identifying is important.
Who was your teacher?
Okay. So, in which regard you are asking?
About Ashtanga.
Asana practice. Yeah, at home. My mother and my brother.
Wow.
As I said earlier, I did not have to go anywhere. So I learnt at home. They both guided me.
That's really amazing.
Yes.
Another question is, if you could put one or two or three biggest learnings which you believe you got yourself from yoga practice, from living yoga.
Yeah. Okay. So you ask, what did I learn from the practice from my self practice?
Yes.
So understanding that question, the most important thing I learned is the ability to forget is very important for a yoga practitioner. I even go ahead and say forgetfulness is mindfulness, because we always identify ourselves with something and we keep that in our trace of memory, and we always try to keep that identity which negatively influences and makes ego. For instance, if you are a practitioner of asanas for 1 year or more, whatever number of years, you think I am a practitioner for so many years and some things are still not happening. Or if we are practicing something and we think this will be with me forever, and after some small thing which happens to our body, we can't do that anymore, and we think, oh God, what is happening? We lost anything. Same thing with everything. I am proud because of my identification. So that is very troublesome for a happy life. I don't even say a yogic life, because yogic life is not different from happy life. Happiness is coming from the simplest form of our existence. So it doesn't need anything decorative, nothing poetic. Happiness is to be simple. That is yoga. But that happens, that manifests when we have the capacity to forget. When we can see a person as a person without any prejudices, without any idea that, okay, this person is in favor of me or is he against me? A friend or a foe, no, doesn't matter. That happens only when you have the ability to forget. Then your association to the world will become equal. You will see everybody equally. That will allow you to be happy within yourselves, because you don't have to remember anybody. All that is necessary to be done will happen when you are in that moment. You don't need to try, you don't need to prepare. You don't need to prepare for something, okay, I have to do this way and that way. This will happen as a part of celebration. So that's what I learned in my practice. Forgetting is very important.
Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah, welcome.
So following that, actually, I observe myself and many other people, whenever we get into Ashtanga practice, whenever we show up on the mat, like, with the time of the practice, we are going through different stages. So exactly, maybe somebody cannot accept that they are not able to do certain things. Other people would be victimizing themselves, would be showing off the pain and then just growing that pain bigger, because they just search for the attention, for love, for care, whatever is there. Other people would be maybe showing off their power and strength and search for approval from the outside. So as you observe so many different students during so many years of teaching, do you think there are some common stages which everyone has to go while our ego is basically being purified?
Yes, everybody will go through. Whatever we cannot do today will happen one day, and whatever we are doing today will not happen one day. We have to go through this change. A wise person will learn from this. and will remember, not to remember their physical abilities, but to keep that tranquility in the mind. Those who are not so clever enough will learn after many repetitions of that cycle, because we will always be in that cycle. Whenever we are not doing, we are thinking ourselves down. Whenever we are doing something, we are thinking ourselves up. But those who are up will have to come down, and those who are down will have to go up. A wise person breaks that chain, will no longer be in that circle, and he flows. He leaves that circle which is encircling in the same path, and he learns new dimensions of yoga. And to be not vulnerable for identification. And that is also beautifully said by Sri Patanjali, Yogaha Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Vritti comes from the sound vritta. A man performs always in the same circle. He thinks he does something different each day, but he is doing the same thing, maybe a little bit more fancy, decorative, but he is doing the same thing. The practice of yoga is to break that circle, to break the chain and flow in the river of life. So all these, when we see students practicing, as you even mentioned, different emotions in their practice, I don't notice any of this. I only notice a practitioner as a practitioner in that moment. After the finishing of practice, I don't remember anything. Again, fresh day. So this way I don't have to carry their identities with me. Neither they will have to carry their identity.
My next question is, as you are teaching a lot, you're having so many students coming, and now you are starting your first class at 5:30 a.m. How are you managing to balance it with your own practice, with your self-practice, with your family time, with your free time? What is your tip for us to balance the life?
Yes, balance is very important. Without balance, no matter in which degree of practice we are, we will fall down. Not just related to asana practice. Even a person who is in Savikalpa Samadhi will fall down if there is no balance. Before I say my own lifestyle, I would like to quote from which I got inspired to find that balance. In Gita it says, Yukta hara viharasya, Yukta cheshtasya karmasu, Yukta swapnavabodhasya, Yogo bhavati dukkhaha. One who can balance, be moderate in eating and fasting, one who has the capacity to be balanced in going out and staying in, both physically and mentally, one who has a balance in his sleep and awakeness, he will learn the practice of yoga. Balance is very important. So we need to work, we need to rest, we need to rejoice. But all this happens when we give and when we notice the time. While teaching, if I am only a teacher and not a family person, householder, I can be a teacher. If I am a family person or a wife or a husband or a son or a father, I can't be a good teacher up there because my identity is no longer with that present moment. So when I teach, I teach. When I go home, I go home. I am no longer a teacher. So wherever we are, we have to be. We can't carry our other identities. In that way, we don't be fatigued. Because when we are in this moment and think of something else, the mind is working too much. So it's easily to get tired. So if you are here and you are here with me, I am here with you, I don't need to think about anything else, then mind is relaxed. It doesn't have to work more. If I am sitting here and wondering what am I doing, what is for breakfast, what is for lunch, what to do, how is the situation back home, so many things, because it's chain process. One thought will give you 1,000 thoughts. So for my own lifestyle, when I come here, I'm only a person belonging here. When I go home, I only belong to home. I don't mix. And I teach in the mornings and I keep for my family and practice in the evenings. I don't teach. So this is how I balance.
So it's again, like you said before, forgetting,
Yes, forgetting.
detaching.
That is very important to me. So whatever I will say will be influenced through my formula.
So I have another question, which is about the future. Do you have any future plans? Any plans about how you want to guide the school? Any plans for the future of the school?
No, I don't have any plans. I would really like to be like what I am now. And if you see me after few years the same way, that's successful. And the students who are seeing me now, who have been seeing me for few years, they say it's similar. So I don't plan for tomorrow, but I do want to be like what I am now. No plans.
So you are always present. Then don't you have dreams and plans like we all? I mean all, not maybe most of us who are usually planning for the future, dreaming, thinking what we would like to do.
See, there is no such thing that one cannot dream. I would really like to dream that I speak with Krishna face to face. But that dream doesn't affect my reality. And that is the highest dream that I have, so no other small dreams come in the way to remind me something new. So, particularly speaking, there are no dreams or no future goals. Of course, to the highest goal, what I told, I have some short term goals which I have to be sincere in whatever I am doing every day, and that is sufficient, and I know I am on the right track. But otherwise, for the school, for the teaching, I see myself to be in the right place at the right time every time I be there. So, whatever needs to change will change naturally as a divine engineering. I don't need to plan for it. So, it will manifest. That's what my belief.
It's so inspiring to see your peace with everything, whatever is, every single moment. You just carry it and everyone can feel it around you always. Who can come to practice with you? Is Ashtanga Vinyasa Yoga for everyone? Or maybe you can give us examples if you had some very young students or some very old students, maybe someone who was never ever practicing any kind of physical activity. Do you believe we all can actually do it, or there are some limitations?
Okay. See, no particular practice exists in this world that all cannot try. Anything. Any form of physical practice, whether even including yoga asanas, there is no such thing that one cannot practice. Everybody can. But two things are very important. One of the two things are, first, the teacher should have the capacity to distinguish what are the capabilities of a practitioner, what is good and what is the otherwise, and guide. And second, student must be aware and submissive. If they find a good teacher, they must submit and practice according to their advice, or they must be alert and aware enough to know what is good and what is not good. In these two cases, anything can be practiced by anybody. Although the contradiction is, we say people for high blood pressure should not practice Ashtanga Vinyasa Yoga because it's flow by breath. And if they don't breathe long enough, it's too fast and it raises the heart rate. But if a teacher can take time and if the student can give time patiently enough to make the fundamentals best, to make the breathing slow, then they too can practice Ashtanga Vinyasa. So there are no such contraindications where one cannot do something, provided awareness must be in both ends.
Definitely. Okay, this will be a last question. For us, practitioners of Ashtanga Vinyasa, what is your tip to get closer to the peace through the practice, through this purification through the practice of Ashtanga? How we can approach the practice so we can be more in peace, more present with ourselves?
Yeah. Practice every day as a first day. That should be rejoicing enough. It's only when you carry that I've been practicing for so long, then you don't have peace. When you practice every day the first day, as the first day, body flows, mind stills, then it becomes practice.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Thank you from all my heart.
Best wishes. Jai Shri Krishna. Namaste.